Hey you guys! So first of all, I want to show you my new tripod. Let me show it to you guys. Well, it's not really new. It's a new head. So if you guys remember, this part broke, and there was a recommendation to just get a new tripod head mount, and that's what I did. And I really am happy with this. It's an all metal construction, so hopefully it lasts a really, really, really long time. I'm not too sure how long it'll last, but I don't see it breaking. Unlike my old one, though, in order to tighten it, you have to, manually screw it. It's not like you open it up and it just like kind of has this elastic of sorts. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I'm totally fine with that. So the people who recommended it to me, it was the Yolanzi brand. I don't know if this was the one specifically recommended, but I got a link to it somewhere, I believe. Thank you so much. It works wonderfully, so I'm super happy about it. I'm gonna have to link it in the description later on. Yeah. Or what do you think? I completely forgot to do that. Well, that's because I'm very good at this stuff. But I wanted to share something with you. So I just got done with volunteering a few hours ago, and I wanted to let you guys know that I had a conversation with one of my friends, and I've known this person for many, many years, probably when I was in middle school or so. And there were times we didn't really talk, but no matter what, we've always kept in touch, even if we haven't spoken in a number of years. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. They just messaged me. So anyway, I'm sharing this with you guys because we had a conversation and I thought some of you guys might benefit from knowing what we were talking about. So this person, she's really beautiful. She's gorgeous inside of out. And she told me that she's interested in this guy. Okay, and you're probably thinking, okay, Erica, what's the point of this, right? And she tells me that she spoke to this guy for about 10 hours. Cat's over there. She spoke to the guy for about 10 hours and they had great conversation, but she doesn't know if he's interested in her. And I was thinking, well, if you met and you're talking for 10 hours, that usually means that you have quite a bit of interest, right? Most people, you would just like cut the conversation short and that's it. But that tells me, 10 hours, you're obviously a very interesting person to that person. They probably want to get to know you, and it's a good thing. And then she shares with me she's a little self-conscious because she gained a little weight, and she said, she has a double chin. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're feeling self-conscious about having a double chin. This guy spoke to you for about 10 hours. And you're worried about your double chin. Like, I don't even think he notices you if you have a double chin or not. Or if he does, it's completely, irrelevant, because you see what I'm saying? Like, I just think like it's not a big deal at all. But it got me thinking about, sometimes we feel like self-conscious about ourselves, and I can understand it. She's probably like really attracted to this guy. She says he's really good looking. I saw a picture of this guy. He looks like one of those like hipster kind of guys I see around here. Sorry, kind of like dime a dozen. I mean, he's good looking, but it's like it's not like he looks super attractive in my opinion. But she's really into him and everything. She's and yeah, she felt, I guess, a little self-conscious because she thinks he's so good looking and really, really good looking. But she's also really pretty too. She's so pretty that I've told her that she's intimidatingly pretty. And other people have said that to her as well. Like, she is so intimidatingly pretty that people assume that she's taken. So I told her, I said, don't wear any rings, because if you wear rings, people are going to automatically assume that you're taken. Like, there would be a guy walking down the street, and if he's interested in her, he'd be like, nope, she has to be taken. She is too pretty, right? So for her to, share with me that she was feeling like a little self-conscious about her weight, it just, like I said, it just blew my mind. And I told her the next time she feels self-conscious about her looks, right? Like if you have like a zit, or like if you feel like you have a double chin or something like that, just look in the mirror. Stare at that mirror, right? You're staring at yourself, right? And you know that voice inside of your head? Look at that voice, or you look at yourself and say, "Not today, asshole." That's all you have to do. You have to just like kill that negative voice inside of your head, because I think if you let that voice control your life too much, you're just gonna be, very unhappy. And if you have like an issue that you want to work on, if you want to look, you want to lose weight, you want to get more fit, understand that it's a process. And for her, she's been exercising, right? So even though she's been exercising, she still feels self-conscious about her supposed double chin here. I told her Rome wasn't built in a day. Houses aren't built in a day. So as long as you know that you're working on yourself, you can confidently look in that mirror and tell that asshole inside of your head to shut up. But yeah, so I hope that she goes off confidently, because I think she's beautiful. I know she's beautiful, and it's like she's like I said, she is so pretty that people assume that she's taken, and it just blew my mind that she was feeling a little subconscious about her double chin. Yeah. If someone they know it, you know what the thing is, it's like sometimes if you have like an off day, or let's say like you have a zit, or your hair's not working the way you want it to, I can understand like your self-esteem is not really there. But when it comes to dating, my honest belief is, if you're interested into a person and they express interest back at you, then you should assume that they like you for who you are. Like, you don't have to, if you're a guy, you don't have to look like Chris Evans in Captain America. You don't have that Dorito body or anything like that. So yeah, and she was telling me stuff like, oh, she wasn't too sure if she should play hard to get. I'm like, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just because a guy is attractive doesn't mean you have to be like, wait, I'm gonna reply to him in like 4 or 5 hours, that kind of thing. Like, don't schedule your life around responding to a guy. If he's interested in you, you don't have to deal with any of these like time games. I don't believe in that stuff. And she's the same age as me, so yeah, I'm like, yeah. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys, if you're dating, do you guys say like, okay, I got a text message at 10 a.m., so I'm not going to reply for at least 5 hours, so that way they don't, like, I don't do that stuff. Like, if I'm free, I'm just going to message a person. Yeah. And I've had like some of my friends message me because of time zone differences, like early in the morning. Early in the morning. So yeah, I mean, like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I think if you want to respond to someone, just be open with them, respond to them. Now, don't go all crazy, and if you're interested in someone, like, don't respond to them like every 2 minutes, like for hours upon hours. Like give yourself some space. Like, just go out, do a walk or something. But yeah, I think there's like a little bit like too much when you like first show interest in someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know some people, when they first meet someone, they're like, I gotta reply to them like right away, and then even like 1 year later, they're like, oh wait, hold up, my girlfriend texted me, I gotta reply to her right away or she's gonna get. I'm like, no. Oh, she is not old. No way. You know what? That is not old, okay? I mean, the average lifespan, I think right now is like, what, 80 years old or something? And age, in my opinion, is all about a mindset. So when I get older, and I hope that I live a very long and healthy life, I want to consider myself as so-and-so years young. Yeah, so I want to be 70 years old. I want to make it into my 70s and have like a zest for life. And I probably will still have my plushies when I'm 70 years old. Very happy with my plushies. So. Yeah, but okay. Lately, I learned you have to. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, you know what, Lewis. Okay, hold up a second. Okay, Lewis calls me old. You're right. He does call me old. He calls me old very, very often. But I'm only 6 months older than him. Okay, I'm not like I'm 10 years older than him. I'm only 6 months older than him, and I don't know why he calls me old because, in my opinion, I look younger than him. Just saying, just saying. But if he wants to go on a chronological age and call me old, then he can. All I'm saying is every year that I get older, he gets older too. I'm 32, so someone likes, you need to understand that we. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like, it's not intentionally trying to block someone out. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, if you're texting someone, you shouldn't be like, oh yeah, hold up, I need to act like I'm really busy. And like, okay, do I reply to them now because it's been like 3 hours, or is that too soon? No. You reply. My thought is reply to people when you want to. If something comes up, then do it. Like, if you have to eat dinner, eat your dinner. Don't like cut your meals or anything like that. You gotta remember that you're number one, all right? So, what happens to social media stars when they get old? Oh my goodness. Some social media stars still look good as they get older. Yeah, I'm trying to think like a prominent woman social media star that still looks good. I think a lot of like the ones on reality TV show, most of them still look really good. But it's tough because like some social media stars, I feel like some of them are only very one dimensional. You'll see people who like flaunt all the stuff that they have. And I remember when I was younger, right? I used to go on social media and I used to see like my friends here, and they would be flaunting all the expensive stuff that they have that they got from their significant others and things like that. I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so lucky. And now I look back at it and I can't believe that I thought, like, oh my goodness, like I wish I had that kind of like handbag too, or they're so lucky they got these, expensive da 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 from their boyfriend. Yeah. I'm like, I wish that I saw more about the actual guy than the stuff that he gave the chick. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the thing like I don't like about social media. Sometimes they'll put this emphasis on the stuff that a woman receives versus about the actual guy. And I see that sometimes even about people that I hear, like some people are dating, they'll say like, oh, the person that they're dating is a doctor or a lawyer. It's like, okay, well, what else about the guy? Okay, I get that he's a doctor. I get that he's a lawyer. Is there anything else to his personality? Not relevant? Okay. Yeah, so. Let's see. Yeah, I remember there was that one. I remember I heard there was this. I can't speak today. I remember that there was this one Twitch star, and I think you might have heard about her passing. I came out like 2 days ago or something, but I just read about it yesterday, and I stayed up on it. Her name is Olana. Olana, I think that was her name. Really beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. But, she tragically ended her own life, I think 2 days ago or so, and she was struggling with depression, and she was in a relationship with a abusive jerk, and it seemed like it was like a number of years, and she anyway, so even though this chick was gorgeous girl, she looked like she really had it all. She had this like depression inside of her, and I looked at her Instagram photos, and I was looking at the eyes, because usually you can kind of tell a lot about how a person's feeling based on the eyes. Yeah, if you look at a person's Instagram photos, You can just like look at the eyes. You can see if there's like a hidden sadness in there. So like Naya Rivera, if you look at her Instagram photos, I looked at her recent photos. Like she looks like she has a lot of sadness in her eyes, and depression is a pretty prevalent thing, I think, especially with people who are very visible, very visible. And that makes me sad because like when I see that sadness, it kind of detracts from all the other things. Like they could be a beautiful person, but once you see that sadness inside of it, you think, oh, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, so that chick, Alana, she was with this asshole, and he was abusive to her, physically abusive, and it left some scars on her. And it seems that even though she ended the relationship, or the relationship ended, he was just a jerk. Like she would be crying to him, and he would say stuff like "you're pathetic" and things like that. And I'm willing to bet that Olana was much prettier than her ex. I'm willing to bet on that. I mean, not much prettier, but much more aesthetic than her ex. And sometimes I think it's a sign of a really insecure person if they are physically abusive or mentally abusive to a partner who's like obviously much more attractive. Like for her, she's gorgeous woman, very very gorgeous woman. So it's sad to think that maybe this jerk had significant added to part of the reason why she was depressed, even though she claimed that it wasn't what she did was due to one person. I think it's like that lasting trauma of things, and maybe like the words that he said. Yeah. So, but I think Kurt, it definitely contributed because she was dating her ex. And I think there is this Reddit called like Olana TV or something like that, this Reddit post. Maybe I'll link it in the bottom if I remember. But it was of her alleged note that she wrote 2 years ago. And she had like a failed attempt and stuff like that. But you read it and it's like really sad. It's really sad. So I stayed up reading about it, and I think it's really tragic what happened. You hear about these stories where people they're in abusive situations, and then even after they leave it, especially like a physically abusive relationship, it leaves such lasting effects on them that it's hard for them to shake it off. And sometimes people seek therapy, sometimes people try to get help, but if they don't feel like they're getting the help they need, or if it's hard for them to like get rid of that negative voice inside of their head, then it just adds up. And yeah, so that's why she was a gamer. So I think that it's very important that if anybody has any negative feelings inside of their head, or if they feel like they're unworthy, or if they're having negative feelings inside of their head that they're not able to positively, move forward. Like for instance, right? Like I'm not in the best shape, right? I'm not fit or anything like that, but I want to get fit. But I know some people, like if they're not where they want to be, sometimes they have this like voice inside of their head that constantly beats them up. And I say this because I used to do this for a while, for like a number of years. And it's not healthy because it kind of paralyzes you. And for people who are kind of like stuck in that mindset, like they went through a traumatic instance and they just remember what someone said to them, I can see how it can compound. And they remember what so and so said to them, and then later on they met another person, and then all of a sudden it's just hard to get rid of those negative talk inside of their head. And but if you look up from the outside in, right, she has like Twitch followers, lots of people thought she was beautiful. Like she's obviously a very beautiful woman. She seemed very eloquent. And even with that, my theory is that she just had so much feelings of like she didn't feel like she was happy with herself. And I think maybe it's like the trauma with those other jerks in her life and other things that she's heard in the past just kind of compounded, and then they just got depressed. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably what happened to her, and that's why I think it's very important. And if you're going through a negative part in your life, if you have like negative talk inside of your brain, just remember, like, not today, asshole. So, and she like I said, she was pretty. She's a very beautiful girl, very very beautiful girl. And but when I look back at her Instagram pictures, you can kind of see that sadness in her eye for sure. Like, she looks great, she's in great shape, her skin looks perfect, her teeth look perfect, but the eyes are really really telling. Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, so that's social media. Like, you have like people who will say negative thoughts, and you'll say people who say positive things too. My channel is obviously very 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 tiny compared to other, you know, people on YouTube, but I see like the negative comments too. I see the criticism as well. And I I also know that there are some YouTubers out there. There was this one guy, oh, I can't remember his name, but he he was called he was accused of having something to do with children. And I don't really know the backstory about it too much, but I remember he was being accused by the community, and then he had this like meltdown on camera about that. And yeah, you know, it's like, if you put yourself out there on social media, you're you're allowing yourself to possibly become, you know, a target of criticism, right? It goes both ways. Like, if you go on social media, some people will be like, oh, you know, you're really cool, you're really awesome, and then they'll get other people who are like the haters and the people who criticize. And you know, there's nothing wrong with criticizing, but there are just some people who are just very very negative, and they're just, they don't say things in a, a constructive way. Yeah. So that's why people who are on Facebook, they find that um, you're more susceptible to having depression or having like feeling lower of yourself, shall I say, or having lower self-esteem if you spend more time on Facebook. And because you see all these people, and that's the thing about social media, like that's the stuff on like Facebook and Instagram. You people who post this stuff, they're always gonna show like how awesome their life is, right? They'll be like, oh, you know, today I had a great day, and I went out and I went, let's say, shopping, and then afterwards I saw this really cute dog in the park, and oh, my life is always great, and I'm gonna be, oh, here's a picture of me doing my little yoga pose. And it just, it if someone's putting those kind of images out there, it's easy for outsiders to see it and think, oh, this person's life is perfect, right? Like, they don't curse, they don't put anything bad about themselves, they're always smiling in their photos, they always look great, they're always at the gym, or they're always with their friends. And or they're traveling, so it kind of shows that they have like a carefree perfect life. And that's obviously not the case. You know, I've known people who have put together Facebook accounts and Instagram accounts, and then, but when you actually know them, you find out they have like a lot of inner struggle within them. Yeah, so, and that's the other thing too, right? For some social media personalities, it's I kind of think, like, I feel bad for them. You know, like the people who live like the perfect life, like their life is always perfect. They don't have any like clutter in their apartment, that kind of stuff. I think, geez, like the pressure of that. Can you imagine that? Like, your place looks pristine all the time, no cat hair on your clothes. You always have to make it sound like, yeah, my life is perfect, my house is perfect. We don't poop or anything like that. It's just, it must be suffocating. It must be suffocating for some of these people. And then, or the people who rely on numbers, right? And if they don't keep up with a certain image, they're kind of afraid that they're gonna lose subscribers or something like that. Yeah. I was reading this article, I think last week or so. It was about people who live stream or have like followings in China. And there was this one woman. She was in, I guess she does some kind of streaming of something. I think her name was like, oh, I can't remember her name. It starts with the N though. and she was live streaming, and she had all these single guys, I'm assuming, her sending her gifts, right? And then she meets this, and then she connects with this other guy who is also has a big social media following, something like 1 million subscribers or something like that. Okay, and the way things work in for these like live streaming slash social media stars in China is they actually have a manager. Yeah, so it's not just them behind the camera. There's actually a manager, and then the company takes a cut of them. So this woman is interested in this guy, and then they live stream it, right? He drives, and then he when she sees him, right? He's in a Ferrari, so she's like, oh my goodness, he has a Ferrari, and you know, with his following, you would think like, okay, he can afford a like expensive Ferrari, like over $100,000 Ferrari. But then they also show that he's trying to work the car, and obviously he's not comfortable working the car. So that's like a telltale sign that that's probably not his car. That could be a rental. And then later on, they say that I guess they start dating, and then when they meet up, he's no longer in the Ferrari. He's in a beat-up Hyundai. Beat-up Hyundai. And I was like, oh, yep. But how many people would it really be interested in someone who has like a beat-up car versus, you know, that like glitzy Ferrari sort of thing? Yeah. And then the guy, I guess they have like some sort of ranking system. So he actually spends half of the money he makes to reinvest and donate to himself on the platform. And I guess how it works is that like the more donations you get, the more you appear higher on this ranking. But if he donates money back to himself, the issue with that is that the platform takes a 50% cut. So you know how YouTube, if you do any super chats, YouTube actually takes 30% of this stuff. Yeah. For that Chinese platform of sorts, they take 50% cut. It's crazy. And then not only that, remember your manager or something takes like 10%. So it seems lucrative, but geez, it's just so much pressure. It's just so much pressure. And yeah, and I saw a picture of the guy, and I didn't think he was anything great aesthetically looking wise, but I don't know his channel. It seemed like a lot of women were interested in him for some reason. I'm like, what's so special about this guy? Like, I don't see it. He looks like a typical Asian guy. And when I say typical Asian guy, like I'm saying like the standard range of guys, like Asian guys, I would see kind of like walking down the street in Hawaii. It's not like superstar status, anything. Not DBSK level or anything like that. Like if it was DBSK level, DBSK, it's a South Korean boy band. But you got to look at them when they had 5 members, not 2 members, 5 members. Yeah, if those guys were on social media, I can understand why they would have a big following. But that guy, I didn't see it. I didn't see it at all. Really? Twitch takes 50% of subscriptions? Yeah. So, oh yeah, so that Olano chick, I was looking at her, her Twitch page, and I was trying to watch one of her videos, and I couldn't because I'm not a subscriber. So I guess on Twitch, if you want to watch someone's channel, you have to be a paid subscriber. So you can't even watch the video unless you pay to be a monthly subscriber. I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, those are like the true fans over there. Yeah, I don't know how much money she was making from her subscribers, but I imagine it was quite a bit of money monthly. And she was a gamer, so yeah, it seems like you look attractive, and then you're a gamer, and then you do this like the subscriber thing. It seems like it pays off if you have the numbers. But remember, if you're a girl, you have a lot of competition. So only the really, really pretty girls would probably make it. Not average girls. No, for her, I was trying to watch it, but I think it says like I had to be a subscriber or something like that. Because I was trying to watch her videos. I really wanted to see her videos, but I couldn't watch it. It sounded like I had to be a subscriber, and I even subscribed to her, but I couldn't. Yeah, so I think she had subscriber only videos. I think a lot of her videos, like anything over 30 seconds, was a subscriber only video. But that seems like 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 from the outside looking in, it seems like such a nice lifestyle to have because a if you take care of yourself and you can play video games as well and you get subscribers, like I can understand the appeal of that. But the plus thing is that you need to really look pretty and you need to I guess be interesting while you game. Like I watch Lewis play Dota and I'm like I don't know if these people who do this Twitch gaming always just play the same game, but I feel like when I watch his videos, I'm like, oh, it's Dota again. And I keep hearing the same thing, like, you know, the conduct me, if you will, sort of thing. I'm like, oh. So I don't know how some people really like watching like the same game over and over and over. Maybe it's not Dota, but yeah, Dota I'm not a big fan of, so. Really? When he started recording, he said, Jesus Christ. I've never seen that, Gabriel. You know what? There's this one person who plays a crane game. It's called Toreba, and I think his name is like QWC or something like that. And I play that game. I don't really play it anymore because it's too freaking hard. Yeah, it's too hard. Don't waste your money on that game. But just my opinion though. But yeah, I see him play, and then sometimes he puts in like $400, and people like throw money at him, right? Because they want to see him play. But I look at it and I'm like, crap! Each play is about $2.50, and he keeps having to reload. And I guess it pays off in a sense because all his subscribers are contributing money to him, like $10, $20, and I look at the way he plays, like when I play, right? When I play that game, like, you know, if you go to an arcade and you're playing a claw machine, you just be like, okay, like that, right? But for him, when he plays, because he has to have like the reaction, he's like, oh my gosh, like, no, what the? It's like too much energy, and I guess some people really like watching that kind of stuff, but I know he has to have that kind of expression and that kind of like reaction to this stuff because that's what gets people interested in it. It's not gonna be, you know, a person who's just like, okay, I gotta move a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more to the left. Yeah. So if I did something like that, I would be really bored to watch because I'd be like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's acting. It is, and it just gets tiring. Like as a viewer, I know some people were saying that stuff, right? Some people were saying like they don't like watching people play games and they don't understand it. Like I completely agree. I play that game, and I don't like watching people play that game because I look at their reaction. I'm like, that is so fake. That is extremely fake. Like nobody would have that kind of reaction on every single play. And you have like a ping pong, maybe, like let's say this, right? Like you have a scooper, right? And it has to scoop up ping pongs. If it has to go in the wind hole, right? You will be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like it's just like it's like too much. It's too much. So I'm just it actually makes me have more anxiety. It's strange enough, but to watch these people play than just the gameplay itself, because they're just their voices go louder, and then they have this like bulging eye sort of thing, and they have all these, um, yeah, they're like their mouths go really wide. Yeah, it's just, But yeah, so I don't know how those people who game on Twitch do it because I've only had limited exposure to people who actually game. And like I said, my only real exposure is watching those play Dota, and I don't know. Anybody watches him play Dota, I don't understand the appeal of Dota. Just I don't. I see it like kind of run to that person and then you cast your spell and then maybe you die and then you go back to your home base and you do it again and then you got your towers and yeah. I don't get it. Oh, yeah, you know what though? I actually like watching those people who do the scratch off lottery stuff. I like watching those scratch off lottery things, but Here's the thing, like, would you, if you had like a $10 million ticket, would you really feel comfortable scratching it off on live on camera? Right? Like people would be like, "Oh crap!" Like if you scratch it on camera and it's like a $250,000 win, and you're like, if people know what your real name is or where you live, you could expect someone probably showing up to get that $250,000 ticket. So that's why when you see these scratch off things, if you guys notice it, they're all pre-recorded. All pre-recorded. Or there was this one person who I think they had like a $250,000 win, and I'm sure by the time they uploaded, they already cashed it. And you never see this person's face, by the way. A lot of these scratch off people, you only see their hands, and that's it. I remember I saw this one person, and they said something like, how much money did they put into the scratch offs that year? It was something like, it was over $10,000, right? Let's just say the figure was like 10,500. They said they put in 10,500, and then how much did they win? $10,575. So they came out ahead like $75. But I can't imagine putting that much money into scratch cards. Some people have the thrill of watching that stuff, but for me, I'm like, I don't want them to eat my money. I don't want to do a scratch card and they eat my money off. By the way, if you haven't seen it, I want to show you this. I thought this was such a cute mug. Where my money goes. So that's other. See? So that's us, and then I feel like, yeah, this is like the cats. I love this. I love this mug so much. I actually found it in Hawaii. And when I saw it, I thought to myself, I really need this mug. Yeah. Cat litter takes up a good chunk, actually. These cats poop so much, it's crazy. Oh, yeah, it's actually glary because I have the sun behind me. Do you see it? Here's my mug. Actually, no, the sun is in front of me. Oh, yeah, vet bills. Oh, yeah, you got a point there. Yeah. Oreo's vet bills is very expensive. I also have Oreo only on wet food, and he's actually a mad little kitty now because I had this theory, like, what if the dry food is giving him problems? So I cut out all his dry food, and I'm only giving him wet food. I don't even have to break it up anymore. But the problem with that is because he's only eating wet food, he doesn't have food sitting for him overnight. The good thing is that he hasn't had any pooping accidents after I switched him over to 100% wet. So unless he has a pooping accident, I'm going to keep him off the dry food. If he does have a pooping accident, then I know that it's not just the wet food. It's something else down the line. But it's all about elimination theory. So I'm going to keep the dry food away from him until he has an accident. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't get dry food. Yeah, so he's on that prescription Hill Science ZD of sorts. So his wet food looks like a can of Spam, and his dry food looks like normal cat food. And it's supposed to have like hydrolyzed protein of sorts, so it's supposed to be much smaller. The protein's supposed to be much smaller in a single source protein, so it's easier for him to digest. The vet was saying that the food passes through Oreo too quickly, and that's what causes his poop color to look kind of yellowy. Like it's kind of like a yellowy, light orange color because it just goes right through him. So by putting him on this specialty food, it should last longer inside of him. And when I put him on this, dry food and the wet food, he was still having these issues. So I thought, okay, instead of switching out both of the foods, let me get rid of the dry food, keep him on the wet, and see if he still has issues. If he does have issues, then that means we got to get him a new food. And if the new food doesn't work, we'll probably put him on that Royal Canin thing, or try the other Hill Science because they have another flavor of sorts. Then he needs to get an ultrasound, and ultrasounds are pricey. It's like $500, I heard. So that's when he has to go to a specialty vet, and yeah. But it's all a process, and the thing is that like I constantly like monitor his food intake and constantly look at how the poop situation is going, since I figured this is going to take a while to resolve itself. Yep, dry prescription food too. So, yeah. So he's on dry prescription and no, prescription food for the wet and dry. Yeah. No, I didn't finish fixing the keyboard, but Louis put it together. The day after I did my stream, he saw my computer, and I guess I was streaming with you guys. So by the time he saw my computer, it was like 1, 2 a.m. And I said, whoa, wait, hold up. I gotta stream this because everybody wanted to see you put everything back together, right? But guess what? The influencer did not want to put pants on. So because he didn't want to put pants on, I couldn't stream it, you guys. Yeah. I mean, I could have theoretically streamed it in him in his underwear, but I don't know how YouTube would take to it. Yeah. But yeah, so my computer's back together, and but the only bad thing is because it was done in a pretty rushed fashion and it was so late, my my backlight is not the greatest. So if you look at my keyboard, it looks really off. Yeah, it looks off because like the light kind of hits like mostly around the 8, you know where the number 8 is? It has a line, so it wasn't put perfectly on there. Yeah, so, but I told him, I said, I don't really use the backlight anyway for the keyboard. I use it maybe like 2-3 times a year, that's it. Because I think to myself, like, I don't need to have the keyboard lit up. Yeah, so he doesn't need to fix it at all. Yeah. But I'm happy, and yeah, it's nice to have a working keyboard. Could you fix the backlight? Does the keyboard? Yes, the keyboard does work. The backlight, you know, that's the one that illuminates the key. So when I press this light button, it has this illumination. Why do I still use Apple products? Because I love my Apple MacBook. That's why. Okay, no, but in all honesty, so you guys probably know the story I have with Clio. I had an HP before. It was like $700 or so. I had it for like a year, and it was like the worst piece of crap laptop I've ever had in my life. And that was my first laptop too. Okay, so I asked my computer friends. I said, you know, what computer should I get? And you know, they were some of them had Toshiba and Compaq, and I was like, well, I got an HP because I like the way this HP looks, right? So I said, do you think I should get the HP? And then they said, oh yeah, the HP specs look pretty good, you know, yeah, you know, that's a good computer. And they said, but you know, you could always get a MacBook. But I remember telling them, I said, oh, but the MacBook is like $1,100. Jeez, that's like almost double the price of the HP. But I bought the HP computer, and I had issues galore with it. I had a factory reset about 4 times, and it still wasn't fast at all. It was like constantly freezing on me, lagging. It had a trackpad on the bubble. You know, the trackpad had a bubble on it. And I was thinking, what kind of computer has a trackpad, bubble on the trackpad after like 6 months of usage? But yeah, so I got so fed up with that computer. I thought to myself, okay, what was the other suggestion? Oh, a MacBook. So I went over to Apple, and I don't know anything about specs, okay? That's one thing I'm very, very transparent about with you guys. Like, I don't know anything about specs. When people tell me about like gigahertz and things like that, I'm like, what? Like, is it RAM? Like, 4 gigabyte RAM, 8 gigabyte RAM? Like, is that fast? I'm that kind of computer user, okay? So I go over to the Apple store, and I tell them, I said, oh yeah, I have a HP computer, and it like freezes. Like, do you guys have like a computer that can make tabs? Because my HP, it always freezes on me, and I can't really make tabs because it constantly freezes. And the genius, right, the salesperson at Apple, they said, oh, you want tabs like this? And I was like looking, it was like freaking 30 tabs, and my mind was blown. I was like, oh my gosh, oh. It was lighter than the HP. It was fast and snappy. And after that, I thought, wow, this is so much faster than the HP. How's that possible? 6 months passed, I had no issues with it. 1 year passed, you know, I didn't have an issue, but then I spilled water on it. But anyway, I love that computer so much that even though I had water damage on it for about like 3 times, yes, Clio is very susceptible to water. I'm still like, I love Clio so much. I love my computer so much. And I got, family member an iMac, a 27-inch iMac. I was like, this computer is great. Great. And previous to that, they had a compact with Windows something on it, and it constantly got viruses, right? With that iMac, never had any troubleshooting. So it's like the blind leading the blind here, because can you imagine me doing troubleshooting for antivirus stuff? I had so much antivirus software put on there. I had the freebie one, Avanti or something, Basti or something like that. I had that one on there. I had like some other one that I had to periodically update. And but once I got a MacBook, I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. I didn't have to worry about Windows Defender 7 or something, whatever, installing themselves in there. Super happy. And that sheer peace of mind is what kept me as an Apple user. Now, the iMac unfortunately broke. So I got that family member a Chrome box. So, it's like a little square. And you can't install anything on there. Like, you can only use the Google stuff. But here's the thing. It only costs like $169. So if you know any person who's like a senior citizen especially, and all they do is go on the internet to read Yahoo News or Yahoo Finance and check their email or watch YouTube videos, then get them a Chromebox. Because this thing is, in my opinion, it's kind of like having a Mac, but you don't have to worry about it. But the only downside is you can't install any other programs. But for that family member, it's perfectly fine for them, because they just go on the internet and check their email, and that's it. They don't do anything if they don't do word processing. If they wanted to, they could, but they don't do any of that stuff. It's just solely like looking on the internet. Yeah, Chrome. I didn't get them a Chromebook. I got them a Chrome box, so it's a desktop. So all you have to do is it's a little box, and then you connect the monitor with like an HDMI port, and then you either buy your own keyboard. I think I used a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse. I don't think it was wired. No, it's true. No, I did hear myself. Like, a lot of senior citizens I know, they're not very good with computers, and I understand it. Like, even for me, like, I'm not the best at computers at all. Yeah, so I'm not saying like all senior citizens, but I'm saying like for like people who are like technologically unsavvy, like getting a Chromebox is great. You know what the thing is? Okay, here's the thing. Hold on, let me look at my thing. Okay, here's the thing, okay? So he always says he hates Apple, right? Did you ever think about this? He always says like he hates Apple. He says things about terrible things about Apple users and blah blah blah. But the fact of the matter is that Apple users are really keeping his business alive. So how can he really hate Apple users? What will happen if all the Apple users just went somewhere else? So yeah, so I think it's like a love-hate relationship. That's my take on it. He hates the fact that Apple users exist, but he loves them because if Apple users did not get water damage on their computers, or if their Apple computers were built like ThinkPads, his business would not be as profitable as it is today. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having like something like a Lenovo ThinkPad repair shop? Would that be really profitable? I don't know about that. No, I've used his ThinkPad, and in fact, I think his ThinkPad needs to have a disclaimer on it, because one time it fell on my foot, and I wanted to double check and see if my foot broke. That thing is so freaking heavy. That ThinkPad is like his like P50 or something. It's like this thick, and it's like a brick. It's like a brick. It really is. And I hate that. I hate like how the ThinkPad screen is compared to like the MacBook screen. Because when you look at the MacBook screen, it's nice and sharp. And you look at the ThinkPad screen, I feel like I'm going back to like Windows XP monitor or something. I'm like, like the precision is not as good. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, no, that thing is too big, and I really like using OSX. I think there's just something so intuitive about it, like red, yellow, green. You know, the little thing. I get used to it, and then I look at it, and when I open my computer, I feel happy. I feel happy using it. And then when I use a PC, like when it has Windows on it, I feel like sad. I actually feel a little sad using it because I feel like I'm going back to the days where I'm remembering about me trying to remove viruses off a computer, and I'm like, oh, I remember that. Oh, that was terrible. It was terrible. So, so every time I think about that operating system, the Windows operating system, I have this thing like saying, no, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go back. So, yeah, even though Apple computers are pricey to fix, and I've had, a bunch of hardware issues on my computer. Like I said, I've got some water damage on my computer 3 times. 3 times. I've gotten the keyboard replaced twice. I had the I/O board replaced. I had the logic board replaced, I think. But basically everything on Clio got replaced. The fan got replaced. Yeah. It was kind of crazy. But I think to myself, and I said, Erica, who got water on that computer? Me. It was me. I fess up to it. I told you guys too what happened. I was webcamming with my friend, and I was talking through FaceTime, right? And all of a sudden, this bug flew on my cup, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, a bug flew on my cup!" And I showed them like, "Hey, do you want to see it?" And then you know what happened? Like I tilted the cup instead of tilting the computer, and the water went all over the keyboard. Not one of my brightest moments, but I look back at it and I say, "Yep, it's no different than someone who knocks over a can of soda or a bottle of water. Like things happen, you learn from it. I learned from it. Don't tip cups of water on the keyboard. Move the keyboard instead." Yeah. Oh, my water damage. Okay, the iPhone 4S, that was because my Keurig leaked. So my Keurig leaked water. It leaked on the bottom, and my iPhone 4S was right over there. And then that's how the water got into it. So because I don't know why that happened too, because that's the only time my Keurig ever leaked. But the water somehow leaked on the bottom, and then it just kind of flooded the counter. Yeah. Yeah, my keyboard got fixed. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so I actually opened up Clio, and I replaced the Wi-Fi card, and that didn't fix it. So the issue was not a Wi-Fi card being damaged, and because of that, I thought, how can I fix it? And then I looked online, and there was a USB Wi-Fi dongle, and I thought, I have 2 USB ports. I always plug it in on the right side, so I don't need the left side one, and that's why I had my Wi-Fi dongle. I love that Wi-Fi dongle so much. I wish it never got hit with I wish that the iFixit hammer or something like that never killed it, because I should have been like, my Wi-Fi dongle, I love it. It served me very, very well. I think it was Betamax or something like that. I might be remembering the brand wrong, but it was wonderful. Yeah, so I think it was only about like $13. Yeah, $13 versus getting the whole thing fixed. Worth it. But I got screwed with the backlight. When the backlight on Clio died. Yeah, it leaked, and then I charged it. So here's the thing. I'm not familiar with iPhones that much, so I thought that the case was... I didn't know the water could leak on from the bottom. I thought it could only leak in from the top. I know that's the screen side. So I got a cloth, and I just dried the back. I was thinking, oh yeah, it looks dry. And then I plugged it in. And you know what? I know I'm not the only person to do that. I know I'm not the only person to open things up and say, oh, I mean, to get water damage on something. So, oh, the back covers. Oh, okay, let me just dry it. And then charge it. Learning lesson. It was okay. I use a S8 Plus right now. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I didn't know it could get through the edges. I had no idea. I thought it was just the top. I learned that, but my iPhone 4 works. My iPhone 4S works. But you know what the problem is? So listen to this. After I got it up and running, like a month later or so, it automatically updated itself. So I can't even turn on that. I can't even turn on that phone unless I plug it into iTunes, and I need to have my iTunes updated to a certain version. But Clio is too old. Like, I haven't updated Clio. I think Clio is still in Mavericks actually. But Clio, I don't know how long Clio is gonna last, and the only reason why I say that is because she's kind of outdated in terms of some programs, so I can't update certain things because she's just too old. And I think like Clio is kind of chugging along, and if she gets too old, and I have to upgrade her to a newer computer, you know what I'm getting? Another MacBook Air. I love my MacBook so much. I love my MacBook so much. There's just something about seeing the operating system and having that like nice, light, shiny thing. I don't want a brick. I don't want a ThinkPad. I don't want a heavy ThinkPad either. Because if I carry that thing, I don't want to be like, man, this freaking thing is like this thick, versus Clio's only like this thick. So yeah. But I can't download things like certain programs because they say my operating system is too old. No, it's not ThinkPad with Linux. No, I haven't done that. But I just like the look of OS X. I really like it, and I like how nice and shiny and smooth Clio is. Like, she's not plastic, she's aluminum, and even though she has scratches on her, I'm like, Clio, you've been my sidekick. I got her, I think, in like early July, around July 3rd or so, 2012. Yeah, so she just celebrated her 8th birthday. 8 years with my same computer. Oh, I love my computer so much. I love it. But she's had so much repairs done, and I know it I know, like, if you count the amount of money that her repairs cost, it actually costs more than a new MacBook, because remember, she got water damage 3 times. No, I haven't heard about that. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's some kind of like, you can see how it's getting darker and darker. I have not heard about Mac OS Big Sur. I haven't. Yeah, if I get a MacBook, I would not get the newest model. That's for sure. Because I think there's just so much uncertainty with how repairable the newest models are. And I heard about this like T2 chip thing going on, so I don't want to get that. I don't want to have. If I get another MacBook, I want it to be easy to repair MacBook and durable MacBook, not a piece of pain in the badonkadonk kind of MacBook. Now that's just me being very mindful. Oh, so Johnny, if you have like a negative voice inside of your head, and it tells you things like you're too fat, or you're a loser, or things like that, or you're unattractive, all you have to do, I suggest this: look in the mirror, look directly at yourself, because that voice is coming from the back of your head, right? And tell it out loud, "Not today, asshole." That's what you do. You got to say it in a stern voice. So as long as you know you're not talking to yourself, but you're talking to the voice in the back of your head, and you just know that it's an asshole, make sure you call it out, because that asshole in the back of your head is trying to ruin your day. And you can do if you're feeling depressed or insecure about yourself, it's preventing yourself from really moving forward positively. And I find that if someone's very harsh on themselves, it's hard for them to be kind to other people. Like it won't be truly, you know, coming from a place of um, like warmth if they're feeling like insecure about themselves. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I say my mirror needs a clean, but then sometimes I'm like, yep, nope. I used to do that. Sometimes I still do it though. I still do it. Like if I'm feeling kind of off that one day, like sometimes I like look at the mirror and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm breaking out like over here, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, it's terrible. And then if I feel self-conscious, I know to myself like I'm letting this little small thing get to make me feel like kind of ruin how my day should go. Not today, asshole. Yeah, I hope this video does not get pulled or anything like that. But yeah, it really helps. It really, really helps because you have to recognize that I feel like we're our harshest critic in a lot of ways. So if we feel like we don't look or if we don't feel like a certain way, then it's just like it's easy for negative thoughts and negative ideas to come into our head, and once one comes in then maybe more comes in, and it's not good because then you might waste a day, right? And our lives are so finite that it's not good to stay in a depressed state or um, very very depressed state for long. Yeah. So I'm sharing this because one of my friends was telling me how she felt a little insecure about her double chin, and you know she's a gorgeous woman. So I was just like, oh, what? Let's see here. No, I have not seen Inky. I wish I saw Inky. I have not. I've looked for Inky. I keep the cat food with me in my bag, and no Inky. Yeah. So yeah, if any of you guys struggle with like depression or anxiety, or if you guys are feeling like really off one day, or if you guys just have like all this like negative talk like, oh, you know, my arms are too flabby, or I have a double chin and things like that, like just remember, like look in the mirror and say those words, and you remember you're not directing it at yourself, you're directing it in the voice in the back of your head. Because I find that like the people that I know that are critical of themselves, like I don't see it, and it made me realize, like if they feel bad about certain things about them, like physical flaws for instance, and I don't see it, then, and I'm being critical about myself, then it's kind of like I feel I'm being overtly critical of myself, and I just kind of ruin my own mood just because of this voice in the back of my head. Yeah, and that's not good. That's not good at all. So yeah, it's a good way to quote break the cycle, because sometimes people, if they get depressed, then it just goes on and on and on and on. And even like if people want to lose weight or get more fit for instance, recognize that it's not just like you exercise one day and you're gonna look like you could be on like a fitness magazine. No, that's not how it works. It takes a long time, right? It's a journey. And even for me, like I've been taking like my protein shakes little. I've been trying to like make little modifications to my diet, so I am trying to eat healthier, but I still have days where I mess up. Like yesterday I had like lots of carbs. I had lots of carbs. I had like instant ramen, which I love so much. And I had a bunch of chocolate. It wasn't my best day for sure. It was like not just a cheat day, it was like a cheat marathon of sorts. And today I want to get back on the bandwagon, and I'm like, well, yeah, yesterday wasn't the greatest day, but I can always get back on track. And as long as I'm back on track at least 80% of the time, I feel like, or even just 10% of the time, and I could just like slowly get better and better and better, then I feel like, yeah, it's gonna just only get better from here. And that's why I don't get like too overtly critical about myself when it comes to like things like fitness goals. I know some people, they get really gung-ho about it, and I'm not one of those people. Like I have to do it like slowly but surely, like little baby steps, you know. Okay, today I'm gonna have my protein shake. and then I'm gonna try to get more, then I'll have more protein, and then I'm gonna walk a little, and then if I volunteer, maybe I'll get some lifting in today. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, now I don't want to lose any weight. Like, you see how skinny my arm is, but I want to get more toned. Like, there's not really much I can lose. See that? Like, that's my wrist bone actually. See, but I want to get more toned, and that's one of the reasons why I've been volunteering, because I have to do lifting, and when I do lifting, so I usually volunteer on 2 times a week. So I usually volunteer on Saturdays, and then I volunteer on Mondays. And Mondays is like, that's when I have to like lift heavy things. Like, I think, was it last week or the week before, we had to like lift 50-pound bags of carrots, and then like a whole pallet full of half-gallon milks and things like that. So it was about like three gallons each milk jug, and there was like a huge stack of them. So usually on Tuesdays, I feel like absolute crap. Like, I don't want to move. I'm in so much pain. I'm like, oh, the lifting killed me. But I feel happy doing that. And I feel like I'm also killing 3 birds with 1 stone, because I shouldn't say that actually. But especially as a person who used to own a bird, because I get my exercise, right? So I have to walk over to the food pantry, and then so I get my walking in. I try to walk at least 10 minutes a day, and then I get my little weight exercise in, and then I also do good in the community. So 3 things. And I like that. I like being able to get stronger and also help the community at the same time. It's great. I know. Yeah. It makes me sad still that my little bird Salsal passed away. Yeah, I had birds for like over 20 years, and then now in the apartment in Hawaii, there's no bird. It's kind of eerie in my opinion that there's no bird over there. You've always had birds. No. Anja, I don't think people wallow in self-pity because of attention. I think it's because if they have these negative thoughts inside of their head and they don't know how to break through it, it just kind of grows bigger and bigger and bigger. It's kind of like procrastinating. And by the way, I finished my taxes, in case you guys are wondering. Like, I submitted all my documents in. But it's kind of like that. Like, if you procrastinate on something, you know how you kind of like put it away, and then you have like a little anxiety, more and more and more. I feel like for certain people, if you have like an issue, and let's say you don't think that or you think you need to lose weight, for instance, right? And you're not losing weight, or you're gaining weight. If you're not doing something about it, or if you have this like overtly harsh voice in the back of your head, then it just gets to you more and more and more, and then it's hard to break away from it, because let's say you fell off track, and instead of losing 10 pounds, you gained 10 pounds. And then it's like, oh crap, you wanted to exercise, but you're such a loser because you gained weight, or blah 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 blah. And then you get more depressed, and some people stress eat, and then when they stress eat, then they get, they gain more weight, and then it just makes the situation much worse. But I think if you can remove that voice out of your head and think about it like, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and I accept this is where I'm at, but I'm going to try to get better. That's a much better place to put yourself in mentally than just like, oh, I'm like a loser, and I'm a loser, and I gained weight, and then you stress eat, and then it gets worse and worse. You see what I'm getting at? Like, it's like 2 different ways to go about it. And yeah, so, oh yeah, I actually I miss some of the people that I know in Hawaii, and it's like when I was telling Louis this too. Like, he says he can't understand me sometimes, and I told him, I said, yeah, like Hawaii people, if you hear like Hawaii people's voices, it sounds like, how can I say it? Like, it has like this. It just has this tone to it. I can't describe it. So, I can't describe it well, but if you hear like local people speak, you can. It doesn't sound like standard American clear weather reporting English of any sort. So it just sounds very local. and yeah. Yeah, that's so when I hear phone calls from people who live in Hawaii, I just think about, oh, It's people I know in Hawaii, and I can instantly tell that they're from Hawaii because it's just like you can hear that like local tone of sorts. Yeah. Sometimes I get like wrong number calls. Like people will call me up and I'll be like, "Hello," and then I can instantly tell just based on their voice, like they're from Hawaii. Yeah. So yeah, I miss hearing that local tone of voice around me, and I also the other thing that I miss too is I miss, of all the things, I actually miss seeing the stores in Hawaii. I miss seeing the grocery stores there. I miss eating the food there. Um, yeah, I used to eat like shave ice over there, have spam musubi over there, Korean yakiniku over there. Yeah, yeah, that was really something. I never thought I told people that I told people that I never thought I would say this, but I actually miss eating chicken katsu. Chicken katsu from L&L with the katsu sauce and the mac salad. If anybody is from Hawaii, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And I even miss the Loliha Bakery cream puffs. Like I miss the green tea flavor and I miss the chantilly cream puffs so much. So much. Yeah. So and we don't have any of that here. I've not seen a cream puff in a very, very, very long time. But we do have a Trader Joe's here, and I do have a bin of cookies with me, so that kind of keeps me peppy in the meantime until I see a cream puff around here. But I don't know where that cream puff is. Actually, there's beard papa over here, but it's not the same. Yeah, I was telling Lois. I said, hey, you should think about moving to Hawaii if you want to get out of New York, right? Move into Hawaii, but frick, Hawaii prices are just like basically like New York and the. I think like the people of Hawaii, if you guys know what I'm talking about, it would irritate him. He would hear all the local slang over there. People call him bra and stuff like that, or maybe who knows. He'll hear pigeon English. Yeah. You guys gotta look up like Hawaii pigeon English. It's yeah. So yeah. The tea, what do you mean? Yeah. So I heard Hawaii opened back up. Yeah. So the gyms opened back up. I don't know about movie theaters, but I've heard that it's opened back up. Okay, Hawaii people, where they tend to be really warm and friendly. You might, if you're at a bus stop, you might have this like lady speak to you, like you know those old grandma kind ladies, and they just speak to you. Yeah, so people are pretty friendly over there. And of course, as I've said this several times in my streams, like I don't experience racism in Hawaii, and that's just because most of Hawaii is predominantly Asians, so I would fit basically right in. And yeah, I think Hawaii is like such a mixing pot. It's kind of crazy because like when I think about things, I think, man, Hawaii is not really. I mean, New York is way more mixed than Hawaii for sure, for sure. Like we're mixing pot of mostly Asians or like Polynesians or Hawaiians, that kind of stuff. But yeah, but in New York, you have all sorts of people from all over the world. No, it's not mostly Native Hawaiian. Are you kidding me? If you go to Honolulu, most of the people you see walking around the street is Asians. Yeah. Uh, oh no, there's a lot less white people than that. A lot less. I want to say, like, in my day to day, if I walk down the street, I would see probably about something like, depending on where you are, okay? Because I'm like a true townie in Hawaii. I live in Honolulu, so I would say if I walk down the street, it would be something like 85% Asian, maybe like 10% like Polynesian slash Native Hawaiian, that kind, and like 5% other. Yeah. But if you go on like the other side of the island, away from town, then you would see definitely more Native Hawaiians and yeah. But I'm a huge townie. People always used to make fun of me. They'd be like, Erica, you only live within like a 5 mile radius mostly. I'm like, yeah, I go Costco, I go to Sam's Club, I go to Ala Moana, I go to Don Quixote. That's about it. Shurikia, yeah, that's part of Ala Moana. Like just like 5 mile radius. That's it. That's it. So that's why when it comes to going on the Buffang to like Jersey and stuff, I'm like, this commute is so far. It's so far. Even my grade school and my high school was in town, so I used to catch the bus, and the bus used to drop me off right in front of my grade school and my high school. So Hawaii is a very small island, and that's one of the reasons why like cost of living there is so expensive, because when you have like a finite amount of lands, it's easy for, you know, people want to stay on the island, right? They have to like ideally buy in like the town area, and there's just so many apartments there. There's so many apartments. Oh, well, I learned to drive just because to have a car, but I don't like driving. Um, I don't like driving at all. I think part of it was because when I was doing when I was practicing for my road test, I had a private driving instructor, right? So we're going down the street, and I have the green light. It's a busy intersection, right? But I had the green light, right? So the first car goes in front, goes through the green light. The second car goes through the green light. Then I go through the green light. My driving instructor is right next to me, and they have the emergency brake. So I'm about 75% through the intersection, and all of a sudden someone T-bones my car. Someone was obviously speeding because I caught them in the corner of my eye, sped, T-boned the car, and the car spun. And no witnesses stayed by, even though it was about like 3 p.m. on a weekday or so. Like there was so many cars. There was at least 12 cars around us, and there was also people walking down the street, and nobody stopped. And it was just one of those things where I remember thinking, crap, if I'm in an accident and I don't have a dash cam, like I could be screwed. So that person who T-boned the car said that I ran the red light. And I had said, how the hell am I running the red light when I have a driving instructor with an emergency brake right next to me? You know, no driving instructor is going to allow me to speed through 75% of an intersection, right? Just saying. So I don't know what became of that. I have no idea. But after that instance, I thought to myself, oh crap, like I don't trust my reflexes. Like I'm a very cautious driver. I drive like at the speed limit, or I'll drive like 5 miles below sometimes, but I'll never like intentionally go past the speed limit. And I know it's not good to go 5 miles under the speed limit, but sometimes I'm like, oh, whoops, I'm going a little slow. But I always try to like go right at the speed limit. And that's the other reason why when Lewis wants to drive the Bafang, you know, for 2 hours, like some of these places he's looking at is like one of these places is something like 150 miles away. I told him, I said, you have to be really mindful and aware that if you are living in a state, let's say like Delaware, and you're driving your bicycle, your motorcycle all the way up to New York City, then you're possibly putting yourself at risk of getting hit by a car any one of those ways. You see what I'm saying? Like it's and I can see that because when I got T-boned in the car, I had airbags deploy. So I had a seatbelt, I had a metal cage around me. I can't imagine if that guy hit me and I was on a motorcycle or a bike, I would have gone flying for sure. For sure. So that's why I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with the idea of going on a motorcycle like 100 miles, like one way now. One way. I think I kind of worry about that because I also do know that your chance of dying in an automobile accident is much higher when you're on a bicycle or a motorcycle versus in a car. And that's just because, right, you have a bad driver. And I'm not saying like if Lewis gets into an accident, it would be his fault. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you have anyone who's driving on the road, and let's say they're driving drunk, or they're a bad driver, or they run a red light, right? If they hit his bicycle, he's gonna go flying. They're not gonna get injured as much as he gets hurt. So that's the other reason why you'll never see me drive a bicycle, or you'll never see me drive a motorcycle, because I simply don't feel safe driving that stuff. I don't want to be like one of those bicyclists. And I've seen some bikes around lampposts, right? And I was wondering, how come these bikes that are tied to these lampposts are white? And I didn't realize that the white bicycle means that someone passed away. Yeah. All it takes is one bad driver to hit you, and depending on how you hit, you can die. You know, you can get run over and things like that. So, yeah. But common sense says that if there's a bike and a car, and the car hits the bike, who's gonna get hurt more? Is it gonna be the person behind the wheel of a car, or is it gonna be the bicyclist? For sure, it's gonna be the bicyclist. So yeah, I don't feel comfortable driving a bike. And I worry because, like, if you have those long commutes, like I said, you're putting yourself at risk the longer you're on the road, especially in a high traffic area on a bike versus a car. Yeah, but you have more protection in a car. You have airbags. You know, you have a seatbelt and you have airbags. If you're on a motorcycle or a bike, if you get hit, you go flying. So yeah, that's my thinking on it, and that's yeah. I just kind of worry about it, but he's pretty adamant about having you know, biking. Let's say like 100 up to like 170 miles one way. And I don't know if he's going to follow through with that, but I told him, I said, you know, if anything happens to you in between, let's say, the 150 miles, I wouldn't even know where you are. Like, for instance, right, let's say he gets into a car accident, he ends up in the hospital. Like, and he doesn't know, I wouldn't know exactly where he is. And that's kind of scary, you know. It's scary because, let's say if he was going through another state, right? If anything happens to him, he would not go straight to like a New York City hospital. It might be a state in between. And that's kind of like the downside about, yeah. So we was looking at this one place, and it was like 170 miles away. So, yeah. But I also told him, I said, you have to think about it this way. Right now it's summertime, right? You don't have much rain. It's you got the sun. How's it gonna be like in wintertime? Do you really want to go 170 miles on a bicycle? Like, well, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, like, I imagine a lot of motorcyclists aren't motorcycling 170 miles to work in the snow. Because I know when we're coming home from the store, you know, that's less than 30 miles. And yeah, that's like about a 25-mile bike ride. And if it's like that for me, and I'm like freezing my butt off, you know, just being on a 25 minute bike ride, I can't imagine how it's gonna feel like on 170 miles. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's closer to 10 miles or so, I think. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I told him, I said, keep that in mind. You know, you need to be very aware of that. And yeah, I was just, you know, I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but the way I was seeing it is every mile especially if we live in a different state, like not in New York at all, but like not even in New Jersey, right, farther away. If anything happens, right? Where's he gonna go to a hospital? Is it gonna be in New York? Is it gonna be in between? Is it gonna be somewhere else? And that's kind of scary in my opinion, you know, especially if he comes, if like what if it's like late at night and it's snowing and it's raining? Do you really want to go through like 170 miles on a bicycle or motorcycle? You guys get what I'm saying though. He wouldn't want to drive every day to work going that far, but yeah, he was. The thing about him is like when he was looking, yeah, 170 miles each way, yeah. He was looking at some property in Delaware, if I remember correctly. No, each way. Each way. Yeah, yep. And I think I threw in the word unrealistic to him, and yeah, he wasn't too happy about that. But you know what I'm saying, though. I was like, yeah, but I just told him that. I said, you know, I worry about your safety, and I don't want you to get injured on a major highway or something like that, or going near a major highway, and let's say people are going 60 miles an hour, right? Like, holy crap. If you're on a bicycle and like I said, if someone hits you, you're gonna go flying. It's not even fun. And how many times has he gotten into an accident on his bike? Right? So it's not fun. So, yeah. And I also told him this. I said, if you go on a bicycle, I am not going to join you to go 170 miles on a bicycle. There's no way I'm doing it. Because you have to think about it this way, right? When you're going 170 miles on a bicycle, how many stops do you have to go to the restroom? Right? Let's say I need a pee, right? I can't be like a guy and just pee on a tree. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Tires every few weeks. Yeah. So that's why people have cars. That's why people have cars for that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I was just worried about his safety and things like that. And I don't want to find out like late at night if there's like low visibility or if it's snowing and if, let's say, the bike skids or something like that, right? Like what's gonna happen? Like, you know, they have that slippery ice. Like for me, and I know you guys might be like, Erica, it's not the same, but like for me, like I have snow boots, and there's been times where it's like I feel like even with my snow boots, it's kind of slippery. So I can't imagine going that far. Yeah, it's like 2 hour. Yeah, 2 hours. So, but you know, he's gonna be going, like pretty fast. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to train. He doesn't want to train it. He doesn't want to car it. He wants to bike it. So I told him. I said, you know, would it be feasible to getting a car? But he wants a bicycle. Yeah. I remember in Maine when we were doing when we had the right to repair hearings. Okay, this is how comfortable I got. Okay, so the first time I went over there, I brought my snow boots, and you know my snow boots are like size 7 women, so they're pretty freaking long, right? They're like that big, and I brought it. I think we went there like 3 times. I brought it for like the first 2 times, and on the third time, I didn't bring it with me because I thought, oh, the other 2 times I didn't need it, and I slipped on that ice. That thing is freaking slippery. So I can't imagine if you have a bike or a motorcycle, like the possibility of slipping is just going to be crazy, especially like how heavy that thing is, and if you have 2 people sitting on that motorcycle. Yeah, so that's why I don't want to go on a motorcycle with him if he's going to go 170 miles. Like, no way. I don't want to risk it. And some people might say, Erica, you know, you're being selfish or something like that. I'm like, no, I don't want to go that far of a commute. I don't feel safe. And if anything happens, yeah, it would not be good. It would not be good. It'd be like, which state are you in? He likes, okay, the reason why he likes bicycles and motorcycles so much is because he doesn't like being stuck in traffic. So you guys see him when he drives, he snakes in between cars and things like that. You've seen it. And he doesn't have to wait in traffic. But the problem with that is that although you don't have to obey traffic laws in that sense, you can go between the cars. If you get hit by a car or you get hit by a bus or you get if you get a big pothole and something happens or you slip in the road, like you are much more susceptible to damage. So yeah, but it says it's what he likes, and he likes having that freedom. He likes that. I think he likes having that feeling. He's saying "f you" to cars, like "screw you, cars. You have to stay in your spot. I can go in between you guys." Like ha ha ha, you know. But I just think like with that kind of distance, it's just not safe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, but he's very confident and very comfortable with how he drives. So I don't know how it is being, snaking in between cars or things like that. And I also said this to him too. I said you also have to factor in like sun damage. And some people would say, Erica, what's the big deal about sun damage? Can you imagine being 2 hours or more in the hot sun, like just having the sun beat down on you? Like I'm like right now I'm kind of fair skinned. If I go in the sun for 2 hours constantly, I'm gonna turn into a red lobster. And he already says things like he feels like the reason why he has like lines on his forehead is because he went hiking back in like 2017 or something like that, and he got sunburned. So because of that sunburn that he got from hiking that one time, he feels like it accelerated his aging. And I told him, I said, look, even if that one hiking incident that you had in 2017 caused sun damage, it's going to cause even more damage if you are constantly on a bike for 2 hours a day. Yeah, he went hiking in 2017, and he says ever since he went hiking in that one time, it accelerated his aging because he went hiking, and it was kind of close to the sun, so it ruined his skin. And I've gone hiking before in Hawaii, so I don't know where he went hiking versus me being in Hawaii most of my life, because I'm constantly in the sun in Hawaii. But yeah, I was just thinking like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about this whole thing, like you went hiking once in your life and then it caused your skin to have um, sun damage that screwed over your skin for the rest of your life. I told him, I said, I think that's kind of just aging as well. I think you could have had sun damage, but anything after that, I don't think you can instantly just say it's from that one instance, because like I've gotten older and everybody else has gotten older, and yeah, and I know people who go hiking and surfing all the time in Hawaii. They spend so much time in the sun, and yeah, yeah. So no, that's dangerous. No, but yeah, he feels like a lot of his aging is due to that one time he went hiking, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I've gone hiking a few times, and there's been time, like I said, there's been times I've gone done with hiking or gone to the beach, and I've gotten sunburn, and I look red as a lobster. But I don't feel like this is screwed. That one time I went to the beach, or that one time I went hiking, it screwed up my skin, and like forever. And I like everything else. The whole aging process is just due to that one time. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, um, yeah. I don't think it's just one instance. I don't think it's just one instance. I think it's aging as well as sun exposure, but and also environmental thing. I if if the people who go surfing every week and they are, you know, as tan as can be, like I know some people who they love surfing and they consistently go out in the sun like 4 hours a day or more, just surfing. If they're okay and you don't see like sun damage on them instantly, then I don't really think that um, one hiking incident can cause like sun damage that is non-repairable. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm getting at, and yeah, I don't know. It's just like I hope that whatever place he finds is is kind of close to New York, and contrary to what some people might be thinking, he will buy a place that he wants to buy. Some people might say like, Erica, you know, are you telling him exactly what to buy? I told him what I think he should be looking for. I told him that he should be looking for a place that has more than one bathroom, ideally like a 2 bathroom. He should look for a place with ideally a yard, and I leave it at that. But I don't I'm not like telling him what to do. And if anybody thinks like I'm controlling him and telling him like, you know, you have to buy a place like this, like, no, that's not. So yeah, of course he'll just have his name on the title. If you know his stance about like marriage and things like that, you'll know that he doesn't want to have anything in my name for sure. So there's no chance that we're ever going to get married, most likely, because his number one priority is protecting his business, and um, he's had situations where he's known people, and if they get divorced, then the wife is entitled to some money, whether it be alimony or, you know, shared property or blah blah blah, and he doesn't want to give up anything. So that's why I would just have his name on the title, and I understand it, you know. But one of the things that I did bring up to him is I told him that I feel like he should make an advanced healthcare directive. And the reason why I said that is because if anything happens to him, right, he needs to have someone in charge to make decisions. And as far as I know, he doesn't have one. So let's say if he gets into an accident, right? People are gonna say, okay, you know, what is the thoughts about so and so and so, or you know, what's gonna happen, right? He needs to either have his dad in charge or someone else in charge. And I know some people would say, Erica, you know, you sound like you're overthinking these kind of things. No, I'm not. The reason why I'm saying this stuff is because if anything happens to him, he has employees, right? So you need to have something in place so that way everything goes smoothly. Because if anything happens to him, right, you just, there should be people who kind of know what's gonna go on. So I'm not saying that he should have me in charge of anything. I'm just saying, you know, have people, maybe a family member, maybe another employee, or maybe someone else. But that way people aren't like kind of like screwed. I don't know when it comes to like certain like big decisions. I have no idea about that. And I think it's just like, I always think like if anything happens to him, like let's say like let's say if he gets into an automobile accident and he's not in good shape, then what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen? Like if anything happens to him, what happens to his business? Right? Does it automatically, does someone automatically have it, or will his dad have it, or will he give it to someone? You see what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, like if he kicks the bucket for whatever reason, should be someone to make sure that the whole place doesn't fall apart. That's what I'm getting at. So that way it isn't like, oh crap, you know, he kicked the bucket. Okay, what happens to the business? Yeah, and it's pretty. I think like it's like those kind of things. Just be prepared for it. Just be prepared for it, because I've heard about situations where something happens to a person, and then for whatever reason it things aren't, you know, it isn't so clear cut. Like the whole thing with Prince, for instance, right? You remember Prince? He passed away unexpectedly, and he didn't have a will, so he had like an estate, and then I guess things got divided between his 6 siblings or something like that. So, and Lewis is an only child, so it's not like it's automatically gonna go to his siblings. Most likely it'll go to his dad. And if his dad is in charge of his business, does his dad know how things are run? Does he know contact information? Does he know, you get what I'm saying? Like it's things like that. Like it's a lot more things to think about when he owns a business. Yeah, so that's usually what happens. If you are, that's usually what happens. Like if a person is not married and they don't have a will, and but even if you're recognized as like a domestic partner, that doesn't automatically mean that if anything happens to that person, if you're the domestic partner, you get something. Like no, it'll be up in the air most likely. With Lewis's situation, everything will go to his dad. That's at least my gut feeling, right? Because his mom passed away, so therefore his dad would get everything. But my question is that will the dad, right? Is the dad's contact information somewhere? Would he be familiar with the people in the business and other situations, like any accounts that he has, or like the cats and things like that? It's not. It's that's what I'm getting at. Like it's pretty. It's not just like pretty. It's easier to think about these kind of things when you're healthy versus, you know, something happens and then everyone's like panicking. Like that situation with Prince, I was surprised. I thought, how he doesn't have a will? He doesn't have a will, like, and that's why his whole estate was kind of up in shambles. And I don't know, you know, what happened with all the people who were associated with his, like, I know he had a record label and things. I don't know what happened to them after he passed away, but if he gets the Rona and he was able to, Paul and Steve, yeah, Paul and Steve would naturally be in charge. Like if he's not at work, then Paul and Steve handle everything. You know, whoever is working, Paul or Steve, or, you know, separately, that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, the thing is that like when I was thinking about it, I thought like if anything happened to him, and this is where my concern came from. If anything happened to him, right? Does that mean the people who are employed in his business are automatically let go? Because I'm not too sure, right? I don't know how businesses really run if you have like one owner and then that owner passes away. Like normally, right? If someone inherits it, then it'll be smoothly, right? But I'm assuming his dad will most likely take the business if anything happened to him. But let's say the dad inherited it, right? Would the dad know how to kind of run it, or would he just? You see what I'm saying? Like, I have had this talk with him. And um, we didn't talk in detail about it, but I brought up my concerns, and I said that you have to think about the living. Like, I know nobody really wants to draw a will. I know it's like kind of like advanced healthcare directives. It's kind of like, who wants to think about like that? Like, that's not fun, right? But people die. Everyone dies. Everybody dies. There's nobody that I'm aware of that has escaped death. So, and the fact that he owns a business, that to me that makes me think, like, I don't want the idea that if anything happens to him, like, the business just kind of goes like question mark, versus if it has like a smooth handover to someone else, like whether it be his dad or someone else. Like, there's so many people that have that as a job, and they've worked there for so many years. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't want it to be like, okay, so what happens now? Do we get a paycheck? That kind of thing. Yeah, I tried to talk to him about it, but it seems like he didn't want to really think about it. So chubby cat. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how this stuff goes, but I don't know how this stuff goes, but as I get older, right, I hear about people who unexpectedly pass away, and it kind of makes me think. Like, life is so fragile, and when you hear about all these cases about someone doesn't have a will and things aren't clear cut, like, who was the guy, that the one who, oh my god, there was the supermodel who married this rock star, Pochinova or something like that. She married this rock star, right? And then after I guess they got divorced or so, and he cut her out of his will, even though she was really bitter about being cut out of his will, despite that she invested so much of her supermodel earnings into him. I thought to myself, at least the guy had a will. Sometimes you hear about people when they don't have a will at all, and then people are like fighting over things, or it's not, like, kind of up in the air. You don't know where certain things happen, and yeah, that's why I think it's important to have a will. It's important. And I think about, like, that Terry Schiavo case. You remember that? Yeah. I think it was like the husband or the ex-husband said that she didn't believe in being kept alive through artificial means or something like that, and the family was debating that, and it got drawn out. Long story short, I believe the husband won, and she got withheld food and water, and after they did the autopsy, they found out that, yeah, her brain was really damaged. I think she had some kind of stroke or hemorrhaging of some sort, but it was one of those things that really made you consciously aware, like, yeah, if people have any situation happen to them, then it's really important to have that, because that was a total mess. That was a total mess, and we still don't know, what was it that she really wanted, because it wasn't documented on paper. Yeah, Paulina, yeah, that one, Paulina Porizganova, yeah, her. Do I have a will and do I have a living will? Okay, to be honest with you, no, I don't. And I should make one. I've been kind of not really been focused on that thing, but you know what? I will make that by next month. I'll have that. But it's kind of like straightforward what happens. Like, if Okay, so like for me, it's really straightforward, right? Um, like if anything happened to me, what would happen to everything that I have, or yeah, it would instantly just go to my dad, my family, my dad, that kind of stuff. Um, it's it's pretty straightforward because I'm unmarried, right? So I'm unmarried, so it's like naturally. And do I have any contestment about that? No, I don't. I don't. Uh, yeah. Oh, it won't? Okay. Okay, never mind. It'll go through probate. I don't want to give anyone. I'll be like, I just want it to be straightforward. Okay, who's alive? No, I don't have a will, but okay, I'm gonna make one then. I'm gonna make one. How's that? I'm gonna make that my month-long goal. I was actually in the process of writing one a couple years ago, and then I kind of like forgot about it. But yeah, for Lewis, it's like I look at it and I'm like, oh crap, he owns a business, so it's not pretty straightforward. Like, hey, if anything happened to me, and if I work for someone, right, I just go to my dad. Leave everything to Oreo. Yeah, but you know what the thing about the people who leave their money to their cats, and I heard that the cat that actually inherited the most amount of money was actually a tuxedo cat. Did you ever hear about that? A tuxedo cat, like an Oreo. I was like, yeah, that's not surprising actually. It'd be a tuxedo cat, but yeah, like how do they manage money for that? Like, how much does a cat really need to live? What? $3,000 a year tops, and that's with like super premium food with toys and litter and things like that. I don't think it's that much money that cats need to live off a year, unless you include the housing. Okay, then I would add maybe like $2,000 or maybe a cheapy one. But you get what I'm saying, like how much money does a cat go through in a year? Can the cat have roommates? Can someone live with the cat, and then that way there would be cost savings? You don't have to pay for a housekeeper if you give the housekeeper free room and board to take care of the cat, that sort of thing. Ah, yeah. Uh, yeah, my thinking though is I feel like Lewis's reaction to that would be he doesn't really care. That would be my gut feeling. Like he won't really care what happens if he's dead. He's not very much a spiritual person, but we'll see. He should at least have that discussion with his dad because his dad is his only his most direct relative. So yeah. Like if anything happened to him and they asked for a healthcare directive, I'd be like, I don't know. Do you have his dad's number? No. Do you know where the dad lives? Somewhere outside of New York. That's all I know. Yeah. So yeah, it would just be kind of a cluster. You know what in that instance, but I hope nothing happens. But it's good to just prepare in case something does, because that way it would be less stress on everybody. Less stress in terms of like finding documents and trying to find out like power of attorneys and healthcare directives and do not resuscitate kind of wishes, that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, when you hear about those things in the media. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't have any authority, so everything would fall on the dad, most likely, I would think, right? And if I don't even have the dad's contact information, then what? You get what I'm saying? I would assume that the dad would have automatic, but yeah, if someone said, okay, do you have the dad's contact information? No. No, I don't. You don't have any authority to do anything unless it's in writing, or unless you're maybe a spouse. Like then you kind of get like the automatic. But if you're not a spouse and you don't have anything in writing, then you're just No, nothing. Let's see. Yeah. Or family members of no spouse. Yeah, so most likely I think it would go, everything would just automatically go to his dad. But at least having something written down is better than having nothing, right? Because, like, as you guys mentioned, probate and just time is ticking kind of thing. But it's not good to talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, like, it's not pleasant to talk about this kind of stuff. But I think death is a very natural thing, and I think if you're a business owner, it's something that you need to do. Yeah. Oreo. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? Like, what would happen to the cats? What happened to the cats? What happened to the apartment? That kind of stuff. Just like, yeah. Yeah, but it's like death is such a natural thing. Like I said, everybody dies. I don't think, I think too many people shun death and they fear talking about it. But it's better to be prepared rather than wait until something grave happens and something dangerous happens. You see what I'm saying? Because then by then it's too late. Like Prince, for instance, he didn't have a will. I don't know if he had a power of attorney, but I know he didn't have a will, or they couldn't find a will. And it was just kind of messy. And lawyer fees probably eat up in there somewhere. Yeah, maybe that should be maybe that this is something that this live stream will prompt people to do, right? Talk about doing a will, or make that your little thing that you'll do over the next month or 2 months, or just look into it, because it's something really important, and you don't want to find out when it's too late that you don't have a will put in place. I remember my parents, they had a will when I was in grade school. I remember that, and yeah, I remember that. So I'm only distinctively aware of that because they had someone come over, and yeah, and there was a bunch of documents. I don't know if Eugene has a will, but despite all the crap that Eugene has done, I really don't hope. I really hope that he hasn't passed from what. Yeah. And I know it's strange to say, but like the Eugene situation really pissed me off when I found out what happened. Um, I only seen Eugene maybe like once or twice. I didn't even see the space. When they signed the lease, I didn't even see the space prior to that. So I definitely didn't meet Eugene when he was talking about his plans for the space or building a deck, and I just I just think to myself, like, geez, that Eugene thing, like, it's just, he was really cocky in my opinion. Like, he knew people were watching the series. The series that we had going on with the contracting stuff. He knew that. He said that he wanted to make a space that he would make a space that the viewers would be happy about. And um, he knew that the money that we were paying, that was being paid out, was mostly from people who donated the money, and he had no qualms whatsoever. We're just running off with it, and it takes a really not so good person, shall I say, to do that kind of thing, to look someone right at the eye and to say that. But that was my take on it. I kind of wonder sometimes, like, if I had been there when Eugene was living out these plans or something like that, or if it was you know, if I heard what he was saying and things like that, or if you guys were more aware of it, you know, would things have been different? I don't know, but that's what happens when you place too much trust in a person and you do it. You assume that they're the same person that who did a job, you know, based on another person. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's just. I remember when I met Eugene, I didn't think that I was kind of like, you just. I remember, right? It's like I'm not. I was just like, hey, maybe that's just how certain contractors are, right? I saw the floor, the deck, and I remember I was asking, I was like, you know, well, what's preventing mice from going in here? It was like, okay, it's gonna be stuffed with the rock wool padding, and I thought, okay, well, you better make sure you stuff it, you know, because you know you build a wooden deck, right? And then after they built the wooden deck, they were gonna stuff it with Rockwell. I only saw this, you know, when you guys saw me do that, when you saw me go into the into the store, and then I was stepping on it. So I remember when I went over there, the first time I went over there, I was stepping on it. I was like, that's kind of strange. And then, you know, you hear the creaking, and I was like, this is creaking. Like, this shouldn't be creaking. And yeah, so when I look back, right, when I look back, it's like, was it really the right thing to build a deck and then stuff it with rock wool and just assume mice weren't gonna go in there? I don't know anything about construction, mind you. I don't know anything about that at all, but it wasn't caught, or, you know, there was just too much trust placed into Eugene. But yeah. Yeah, they're still alive, and they did some half-ass apology, like, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't know that he was like that, or something like that. It was just real cop out, and yeah, but it just kind of irks me when I think about that kind of stuff. But you know, it's done, and it makes me sad because I hear that he's still doing jobs for other people, and you know, he doesn't have any problem sleeping late at night. I think sometimes when people are like that, they become battle hardened to it. Now, I am a pretty spiritual person, so I do think that he will eventually pay for things. Not in this life, but I do believe in the next life things will pay. Things will catch up. So, yeah. But that is, hold up, I gotta charge. That is just my stance on it, and that's why I think it's important to be a good person. One of the things too, because remember that what you do in this life, it's not just like, you know, if you do something terrible, it's not like, okay, well, you know, that's the end of it. No, I feel like in the next life you'll pay for it. I really feel that way, and I'm not really, I don't really tie myself down to a specific religion. I'm respectful for almost all religions except Satanism. That will probably it, that I'm aware of. But yeah, it was a really trash move to do. It was really a trash move, and it just made me consciously aware that when you deal with people like contractors and things like that, and you hear about those stories on the news where people say stuff like, oh yeah, they got scammed by a contractor, or, you know, someone took their money and they ran off. Like, really pay attention to it. So even though you know, Lewis lost so much money because of Eugene, I really hope that the people who watched that, which was, you know, over 100,000 people, I really hope that those people picked up that if they deal with a contractor, do your research. Hell, do a background check of that person if you can. Pay them in installments, and don't ever give them more money unless they finish like a certain stage. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you tell them to like build a house, don't be all like, okay, you know, I'm gonna pay you more money than each installment allows to. Because once they give you some BS excuse like, oh yeah, I don't have any more money and things like that, you can kind of, well, my thinking is you can kind of make sure you ensure that they're just going to have more stalls happen. And that's one of the things that happened with the Lerna case that we learned, right? The Lerna case, They wanted to have like a home theater being built, and there's a video on Lewis's channel about that. They kept he kept stalling and stalling and stalling, and this is not per my opinion, this is per court documents. And they kept giving him money because they were like, we just want this thing done. And by the time he said he finished it, guess what? When they actually went to the property and checked, because they didn't live at that house, they found out all the work that he said he did, it was photoshopped. Yeah. So it wasn't like he even made the results. He just sent them some photoshopped image. And it's a scumbag move. It's an absolute scumbag move. And sadly, from what I heard, was that allegedly the learners didn't even get a dime from him. And the reason why they didn't even get a dime from him is because he doesn't keep money in his bank accounts. He cashes his money in check cashing places. So then they take like a, 20% fee? 30? I forgot. A hefty amount of fees. So that's how the way he runs away from the government garnishing his money and giving it to the learners. He just doesn't have a bank account. And yeah, it's a really scumbag move to do. But you'll learn from it. And I think that if that was found out earlier, right, things would have been a lot differently. But the research wasn't done. I can openly admit that. Like I said, looking back, it's a learning experience. And I hope that all the people who watch the Eugene construction videos now do their own research, because one person's mistake can also be another person's learning lesson. So I don't look at that, and even though it's kind of like painful to think about and quite embarrassing, this is, like I said, this is something that happens. It's not uncommon for it to happen. Ultimately, enough research wasn't done, and I hope that if any of you guys want to do construction or you want to hire a contractor, like I said, remember what happened with Eugene and do your research. Really, because it's not fun to have to struggle to find another contractor, and then all of Eugene's work had to get ripped off. Almost all of it. The only thing that was left was actually the stuff in Lewis's office, and his office creaks. Yeah. So that's yeah. But you move on from it, and Sunny helping out was truly like a godsend. If Sunny didn't come through and everything, I don't even want to think what would have happened. I wouldn't want to think. And he really saved the day. He really saved the day, and I'm very happy and grateful for that. Let's see here. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go make a phone call. I promised one of my friends that I was gonna talk to them, and I went live streaming instead. I'm such a terrible I'm such a terrible friend. You know what happened? Like, I only wanted to make a short live stream, and then I started talking to you, and then it just went on and on and on. But thankfully, I know that they're in a time zone behind me, so I think I'll be okay. Hopefully I catch them before they nah, they won't be going to sleep. Am I kidding me? I'm before them. So right now it is almost 8 p.m. in New York, so it should be around 4 p.m. or so, I think, maybe where they live. Not too sure. Maybe not. But yeah, and Sunny saved the toilet too. You remember the pooping spray thing? Yeah, I learned something too. I learned something very, very, very exciting, and I gotta show you guys this. Oops! Look at that cat. That's his favorite cat toy, by the way. Clinton? Yeah. Some people think he's a pregnant cat. I'm like, no, that's a male cat. That is not a pregnant cat. Hello, Clinton. What is it? Oh, come here. how big Clinton is. He's a very big kitty. Oh, what a cutie. Yeah, but I will talk to you guys later. Um, I actually have to rush out and, I actually have to rush out and buy groceries. Yeah, I wanted to buy it earlier, but then, oh, what can I say? I got distracted by you guys yet again. So, yeah, talk to you guys later. And don't forget my advice that I gave you guys. If you guys have any negative voice inside of your head that's tearing you down, or things that just aren't positive or ruining your day, it's coming from inside of your head, you know, regardless if it came from someone in the past or anything like that, remember, don't let that voice or those people affect your day today. It's not worth it. And you got to tell them, you know, not today, asshole. And just move forward and have a happy day and enjoy your day or enjoy your night. Today it's still sunny. It's 8 p.m. I can't believe I'm saying enjoy your night and you guys can still see the sun on me. Yeah, strange, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.